Cheese. All right, welcome back to That's Some Cheese, part of the Vendetta Sports Podcast Network. Today is Tuesday, April 7th. I'm recording this at night. On the line, we have blogger William Sweeney. We are going to be continuing the Behind the Blog series. So, for those of you who read our website, you get to know each one of our bloggers a little bit better, get to tell their story. Will, how's it going? What's going on? I'm all right. So, this little idea, we've been doing this because there's no sports on, and I thought it was a creative idea. What have you been doing since the shutdown happened? What's your normal routine going on? Have you been taking on any projects, working? What have you been doing during Corona?
Well, for me, I haven't been really self-distanced too much. I'm a delivery driver for my work, so I've been working a lot. I have to be around people. But other than going to work, I just go home, watch Netflix, and every once in a while, I don't hang out with my girlfriend, but she's self-quarantined, so it's safe to hang out with her. Really, it's just been tough, just working and doing a whole lot of nothing. Can't do the same things we could before, but we'll get through it.
What have you been watching on Netflix? Because I've found a couple good shows I've watched. I like All American right now. That's the show I'm watching.
Yeah.
What have you been watching during this break?
Let me think. I've been watching a lot of movies with my girlfriend. I did start All American. I only watched the first 2 episodes so far. I started this show called Baby, and then I just watched the rest of You. So those are the shows I've been watching. I'm trying to find another show to watch, probably like Ozark or something like that. I've heard that's been pretty popular.
Yeah, I haven't watched a new season yet, but the first 2 are pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't even seen the seasons yet. And then me and my girlfriend want to start The Sopranos. We haven't even seen that before. So other than that, right now that's what I'm watching. A lot of movies, though.
All right, so let's get down to business here. If I remember correctly, you are from Staten Island?
No. I live in Long Island. I'm from Daytona Beach.
Got it. So that ruins my question. I was going to say, do you get offended by the when people call Staten Island the trash people, but that's not you then?
No, I've never even been to Staten Island yet. I just moved to New York.
So, how long have you lived in New York then? I know you lived in Florida for a while. Tell people sort of what Florida was like, what New York's like, what it's like living around there.
New York, I moved here last July 1st or July 2nd. So, coming up on a year. I grew up in Daytona Beach in Florida my whole entire life, pretty much, since I was 4. I was born in Tampa. Florida and New York are very different. The people here are more non-people-like. They don't really like other people a lot. It's whatever. They're just snotty people. Florida, a lot of people are more outgoing. It's way colder here, of course. Really, really cold here. The food here is better, though. I'm not going to lie about that. I love the food here. Like, Chinese food is the best in New York. I love it so much. And, but, I had to leave all my friends from Florida, so, that's always tough. But, I'm meeting new people, and I'm getting by where I'm going, so.
William is one of our college football and football writers in general. We got to get him a little bit more active, but he's done a couple good posts in the past. He's done one on Kyle Pitts, some top 5 running backs going into the draft. Make sure to check out his articles. I want to ask you about how you started liking the Florida Gators, because I don't really have a college football team, but I do kind of gravitate towards the Gators because growing up, my dad's a big Cowboys fan. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I loved watching Emmitt Smith when I was really tiny, and he went to Florida, so I kind of liked Florida. What made you like Florida? What's your expectations for Dan Mullen and how he's going to rebuild the program here?
All right, so my mom met my stepfather when I was 6. We moved in with him. He's Florida alumni. He graduated from there in physical education. So, I wasn't even into sports when I moved there. Before I met him, I wasn't into anything, I wasn't into NASCAR. I wasn't into NFL. I wasn't into any of that stuff, any of that Florida stuff, any of it. And then, when we moved in with him, it was around the time that Tim Tebow was playing. So, of course, he watched every Florida game pretty much, and I just fell in love with them. I love their uniforms. I love their colors. I fell in love with Tim Tebow huge. Like, I love Tim Tebow. That's how I became a Broncos fan, actually, was because of Tim Tebow to begin with.
I thought you were a Jets fan.
No, I'm a Broncos fan. Broncos fan, and I lean towards the Giants since I'm in New York now. But I'm a Broncos fan. I fucking hate the Jets, but they suck. But yeah, I just loved Tim Tebow. I loved Percy Harvin. I loved everybody on that team. And then, of course, I was a fan from then on. As far as rebuilding the program, lost a lot of guys, which is tough. I don't think Dan Mullen lost too many defenders, but well, he lost his 3 best defenders. But other than them, I think he's bringing back a lot of them. On the offensive side of the ball, though, he's got to reset the whole receiving core. Kadarius Toney did announce he's coming back, though, for his senior season, so that's good. But he's just got to rebuild the program. I think Dan Mullen's a really good coach. Right now, I've been doing some research, and I see that Florida's up there in the top 10 for way too early rankings, So I don't know how, but I guess Dan Mullen's just got it going,
So, if I remember correctly, I believe Jordan was the one that recruited you to the site.
Mm-hmm.
Before we found you, did you have any inspiration to get into media? Is this something you always wanted to do? Tell your story before we found you. Is sports always in your plan? Sort of dive into that.
Yeah, I was. Sports in general was always a plan for me. I always wanted to be a sports broadcaster. But then when I got older, I was like, that's going to be tough for that to work out. So, I was thinking about writing. I'm a good writer in school. I was an AP Lit, all that stuff. I didn't really pay attention that much, but I passed the class. Then one day I got in an argument with Jordan on ESPN post about who's better, Oklahoma or Oregon. But it was earlier in the year, so I didn't know Oklahoma was as bad as they were. And I told him, I just DM'd him, and I was like, I love college football, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you should write for us. We need writers, especially college football. And that's how I started on Vendetta Media.
So since we found you, and again, we are doing the continuing the blog post so everyone can get a chance to get to know the bloggers on the site. You've been doing a lot of college football stuff. Do you have any sort of college football topics you're the most interested in? Some people are really into recruiting. Some people are really into coaching. Some people are really into player development. What part of college football do you love the most?
I love looking at recruiting, but my favorite is the rankings by far. I love looking at the rankings. Every week, I love looking at the new rankings, the new polls, the playoff hunt. It's just, that's the reason why I used to love playing the games too, just to see the rankings. When you beat a good team, how far up you move up, all that stuff. When you lose, how far you move down. So the rankings would probably be my favorite part about college football.
I would say for me personally, I've always liked the NFL more, but more recently as I have gotten older, I like college football a lot more than I used to, and the biggest reason for me would be just getting to know the players before they get to the NFL, and I love getting to know them
awesome.
and the scouting part. That's what I love about it the most.
Yeah, the draft is awesome too. Who can't love the draft?
So, in terms of college football that you like, is it just mostly SEC? Do you watch all the conferences? Or
Well, SEC is obviously number one for me since I'm a Florida fan, but I focus on all of it. I look at all the top 25, everybody in the top 25. I like to focus on quarterbacks a lot. I do a lot of DraftKings for college football, so of course I have to keep up with everything if I'm doing DraftKings. But yeah, the SEC is definitely my favorite conference. I love those teams, LSU, Alabama. I mean, I hate those teams, but I love watching them go against each other. It's just, SEC is awesome football to watch, but all the other conferences are fun to watch too, and the out-of-conference games are fun. Rivalry week is so much fun to watch. I love rivalry week.
I didn't know you were a
Um,
big DraftKings guy. We got to get you on a post for that. That would be great
oh yeah,
content.
oh yeah, definitely. I did some NFL, but I do a lot of college because I mean I watch NFL and college equally, honestly. But I like to research about college football a lot more than I do about the NFL. And everybody has their fantasy league in the NFL. I just keep it that way, and I do DraftKings for college. So,
So now that you've joined the site, you're part of the Vendetta family.
mhm.
With the upcoming college football season, in your ideal world, no corona's going on. Hopefully things are good by football season. What is your
Mhm.
plan for the college football season? What kinds of content do you plan on producing? Tell the people sort of what to maybe expect when college football rolls around again.
When college football starts, I'm definitely going to be back on my computer a lot. Um, when this whole corona situation is over, um, it, I'm definitely going to bang out a lot of posts for college football. I'm going to focus still on a lot of SEC. Definitely I want to focus a lot on draft stock throughout the year too. I want to try to do a little bit of that from week 1 to week 14 or 15, whenever it
So you're
is.
stealing my
A lot of,
posts. You like those posts that I do.
yeah, I do like them. Not all of them, but I do want to do a couple of them because I didn't do any last season. But I do want to do a couple of those. Um, yeah, the draft analysis is awesome, and then I want to do some rankings posts too because I didn't do a lot of rankings posts like my own top 25 or my own top 10 or my playoff predictions. I didn't get to do those. And before the season starts, I definitely want to get a way too early playoff prediction post done.
So 5 years from now, let's say you're with the site, you're doing your thing. What are your personal goals for the site? What are your personal goals in general, family, anything? 5 years from now, what is William Sweeney doing and what does life look like if everything's going perfectly?
5 years from now, that's a little while from now, but
Yeah.
I definitely still want to be writing. Um, as far as, like I told you before I started writing for you, whenever I first texted you, you told me that nowadays a journalist degree doesn't mean shit without the experience. It's all about the experience. It doesn't mean shit to have a journalist degree. So I took that into my heart, and I was like, you know what? I should focus on writing more, and I do. I haven't posted a lot lately, but that's going to change, I promise. I'm going to focus on writing more, but I want to, maybe get a trade done like culinary or something. Maybe continue my uncle's business, whatever he has in store for me. Keep writing and see where that goes. I definitely want to. I want to get up to one of those posts where they get 5,000 views in a month or something like that. Whenever we get there as a website as a whole, everybody will be able to do that. But that's my personal goal.
I like it. Let's do some rapid fire questions and then we can kind of go crazy with whatever.
All right.
What's your favorite food? Favorite dessert?
My favorite dessert. My favorite dessert is probably Oreo ice cream.
How about favorite food?
Burgers. Definitely burgers.
How about favorite sports stadium?
Oh, my favorite stadium? The Swamp.
What's that like when you go down there? Have you? I've
When you
never
go
been
to,
there.
I've been once, but it wasn't a packed stadium like an LSU Florida game or like a Florida State Florida game. It was, I think it was Florida Arkansas or something like that. And it's crazy. It gets loud. I mean, that's the only college football game I've ever been to. Really, like a real one, like a Division 1A college football game. But it's loud as hell. Like, it is really loud. And college football stadiums are bigger than NFL football stadiums. So, just the crowd really gets into it. It's so awesome.
How about favorite clothing shoe brand?
Adidas, by far.
Favorite sports team, regardless of which sport it is.
What do you mean theme?
Huh?
What do you mean by theme?
Favorite sports team, like.
Oh, team.
Yeah.
Oh, Gators.
Favorite vacation spot.
Vacation spot. That's a tough one. Probably the mountains in Virginia. definitely.
How about a city that you want to travel to that you've never been to?
I have two of them. Can I say two?
Yeah.
I want to go to Cleveland,
Why?
and I don't know. I want not just Cleveland. I want to go to that whole area. I want to go see the Hall of Fames, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
I want to go see all the sports Hall of Fames, and then I want to go to Atlanta and just party.
How about a favorite drink?
Drink in what regards?
Any.
Any drink. I would. That's a tough one. I would probably say chocolate milk. Honestly.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How about a favorite movie or TV show?
My favorite movie. My favorite movie is probably. I have so many favorite movies. Probably Ollie with Will Smith.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that answer before, but I like that movie.
Yeah, I love that movie so much.
So, I don't really have any other personal questions for you unless you have any other dark secrets you want to share. Do you have anything else?
I don't have any dark secrets I want to share. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is The Godfather. Easily. Hands down.
Oh, yeah. The second one's better.
No, I like the first one better.
Really?
And the Rocky series is probably
oh, my God.
number
I forgot
two.
about those. The Rocky series. Rocky 3 and 4 are my two favorite.
I used to watch one of those movies before a wrestling match every single time I had a wrestling match. I watch it right before.
So awesome. What about Creed?
What'd you say?
What about Creed? Do you like the Creed movies?
Yeah, I do like those.
Yeah, I like them too.
I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, I like them a lot. But yeah, other than that, if you got any other questions for me, I can answer them for sure.
Do you have any 2020 draft topics you feel passionate about? I've been doing a bunch of posts on them, but
2020 draft topics.
Yeah.
I think I read the one that you did of what's it? Is it Bryce Love? No, not Bryce Love. It's Jordan Love, right?
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Utah State's quarterback. Who is it?
Yeah.
I love that. I think he's gonna be a sleeper.
I sort of wrote that he's a wild card. He could be good. He could be bad. Just really up in the air.
He can be a boom or bust.
Yeah.
I mean, not really a bust. Nobody's gonna take him too high, but a lot of people are saying the Patriots want him. But I don't know. I think that they're gonna try with Stidham. But I have a question for you, and I've been asking this question a lot lately, not just to people, but to myself. Do you think that the Chargers really need a quarterback, or do you think they can try to go with Tyrod Taylor? Because I've been thinking about that a lot, and I'm like, Tyrod Taylor never really effed up in his career. He never really did anything wrong.
Personally, I don't think it's going to matter until they fire Anthony Lynn because I think he's dog shit. You can't hire a running back coach and expect to win. The Chargers have so much talent and they're losing. Why? Because they have a shitty head coach.
That's true. And their defense is stacked. It's going
loaded.
This year. They're loaded.
There's no reason that team should be winning 4 games.
No, absolutely not. I'm telling you right now. And I'm pretty sure they got a high draft pick too.
They had the 6th pick in the draft, and their team's really good.
Yeah.
Because their head coach just doesn't know what he's doing.
But do you think that they give Tyrod Taylor a chance? Whether it works out or not, do you think he gets a chance?
I would give him the week 1 job. I think he's more stable than Cam Newton right now. I definitely think Tyrod Taylor can hold his own.
Do you think that you could see? What pick does the Giants have? The
4
pick, right?
4.
Could you see? Because me and my cousin have been talking about this a lot. Could you see the Chargers trying to jump Miami for Tua by making a trade with the Giants?
I think you got to go to 3. I think you got to go to Reds or to the Lions.
Lions are not drafting Tua. There's no way. I couldn't see it happening.
They have Stafford, but he's getting up there.
Yeah, but Stafford's a good quarterback.
I agree. Speaking of the Tua thing, I don't understand it, man. The conversations have gone to a crazy point to where
What, that he's not even like a top 10 quarterback?
it's insane. Like,
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about you when I saw that too.
it's insane.
They're just gonna fuck up. I'm telling you.
The thing,
Gonna,
yeah, the thing I don't understand is every media person goes on TV and says, "Well, the hip." The part I don't understand is why is the hip more of a red flag than the fact that Jordan Love has bad feet and threw 17 interceptions at Utah State? Wouldn't you rather have a guy who's really talented but maybe not healthy instead of a guy who just isn't that good? Why is the hip more of a red flag than Justin Herbert, who's a check down machine? I don't get it.
Fucking sucks. 2 years ago, Tua was the number 1 pick.
Easy.
Hands down, going into the year.
Trent Dilfer said he's the best quarterback he's ever seen in his life.
Yeah, Tua is, like we said, we talked about it in the podcast. I put it in one of my articles. Tua is definitely the next Russell Wilson. There's no doubt about that in my mind. Like, everything about him, it just says Russell Wilson, the next Russell Wilson. Whatever Russell Wilson isn't right now, Tua's going to heal from this, just like you said, Deshaun Watson did. And he's going to be a good quarterback. And I don't think anybody, especially Miami, should not sleep on him. Absolutely not.
I think if you pass on Tua, you should fire yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And if he drops to someone like the Patriots, then the NFL needs to fucking watch out because you don't want Belichick to get Tua.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
How about last question for you? This is something I talked to you before we started recording. Hopefully this is your next post. You're a big Florida guy. Give me your thoughts on LaMichael Pirine. We haven't really talked about him at all.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of thoughts on LaMichael Pirine.
Let's hear it.
I watched LaMichael Pirine from day one of his college career when him and Jordan Scarlett were the 2 tandem backs. Pirine is underrated running back with a shitty run line. But last year, the Gators' offensive line could not push forward a pile. They could not get any lanes open for the running back. Pirine still managed to do what he did that year, and it wasn't that bad. He had bad games. He had a lot of good games. I think that Pirine is a sleeper. I think he ends up... Honestly, he reminds... Not like Royce Freeman, but I would say that's around the time he should go in the draft. He should go early to mid-third round because I'm telling you right now he's a sleeper. He'll probably end up going 4th or 5th round, but I think that if he gets a chance, I believe that he can be a good running back, for real.
I lied. One more question. What's your favorite thing about New York?
The food. Definitely the food.
All right, fair enough. That is William Sweeney. Okay. That is William Sweeney on the line. Hopefully you got to know him a little bit better, and hopefully he will be producing some college football, NFL draft stuff coming up soon. Will, thanks again for coming on the show. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome, Trey.
All right, and that's going to do it for this episode of That's Some Cheese. Until next time, we will see you soon.
Tell you something. You know what really grinds my gears? You, America. Fuck you, Diane.